This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
What's up? It's your boy, The Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
Somebody out there deserves to be recognized. And the Men's Room knows just who it is. So to you, we say, bottoms up, sailor. You're the toast of our shot of the day.
Drink time it is, and as usual, we head to the drink desk and Steve Throw-Hill to find out who we're toasting.
Before we get there, one quick comment from your states list there, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
It says, my family is from Iowa. My parents grew up there. Our family still lives over there. And always ask why we never visit. Our answer is, because you live in Iowa.
Oh man.
Today...
Do you know anybody from Iowa?
Do I know anyone from Iowa?
I know people who've lived there for a brief period of time.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan's lived there. Jolene lived there for a little while.
Oh, right. And then both of them don't.
Okay, so from Iowa.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Do you know someone from Iowa?
I do.
Who you got?
It's just a friend that my sister made.
Do they go back to Iowa? Do they ever...
They still live in Iowa.
Cece, who used to work here, lives in Iowa now.
Correct.
That's right. All right,
Yeah.
so I know one.
Really?
Yeah.
The hell is she doing?
She's doing a morning show at Laser.
She is.
Oh, she's... Okay. She's
doing great.
All right.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Very good.
You guys have no idea
Good
what we're
morning,
talking about.
Iowa.
That rock chick.
All right, today we chose 48-year-old John Sheehan of Cork County, Ireland. Now, John is a landlord, and he recently found out that his tenants had turned their place into a marijuana grow house. So he evicted them. He found 33 plants. He burned them all and kicked the tenants out.
God.
Right? So
That's
it
a
sounds
little
like your
aggressive.
typical weed hater in a country where weed is illegal. However, once his tenants were gone, he started reconsidering, and he decided to turn that place into his own grow house. Police ended up finding 23 pot plants and 9 ounces of weed that he was getting ready to
Get
sell.
out of here. That's a great idea.
Yeah. So here's what. So what do you think his punishment was for that? 23 plants, 9 ounces. Obviously, he's about to sell it.
And this is in Ireland?
In Ireland,
Yeah. Oh, God, I don't know. 10 grand?
County Cork?
2 years probation and had to forfeit the $6,000 he'd already made selling weed.
He had to forfeit the money he already
That's it.
made.
Yeah, he'd already made. They're like,
what do you
look.
got from this? And then just take
So
that?
they're like, look, dude, just
All right.
give us some money.
That seems fair.
But you can't grow weed here. And then he's basically like, you know what? It's an easy money-making outfit. Let me regrow the plant. That's the thing. He burned all of their plants, booted them out, and then started his own grow. It's like, dude, just boot them out, keep their plants, and keep it going. That's what I would do anyway.
Sounds like it was in Castletown.
So let's drink. We pour this booze and we drink this booze because we think it's yummy.
Yummy.
So over the tongue and down the throat to party in our tummies. Down the hola bichola.
The Men's Room presents Profile This.
Hey, Steve Throw-Hill, could you please tell everyone how Profile This is played?
I sure can, Miles. One more quick comment about our state list. This guy's from Minnesota. He says, we call Iowa, spelled I-O-W-A, idiots out walking around.
Oh, no.
God.
Damn.
Poor Iowa.
I know.
It's a simple game to play. Share with you, let's just get to the contestant. Hello, Andy. Welcome to the Men's Room.
How you doing, fellas?
Hola! We're doing well. Andy, you understand how this here game is played?
I do.
All right, so you know you have your choice of one of 3 stories. We have the wonderful world of drugs. We have bite me. In other words, what did someone find in their food? And finally, interior decorating, where you guess the foreign object that ended up on the inside of someone.
Let's go with bite me.
Bite me! All right, here is your story. We go to our nation's capital back in January, where National Guard soldiers that were defending the U.S. Capitol, they got ill after being fed meat that was almost completely raw. And they also found in their meals foreign objects. So you have undercooked raw meat and then an additional foreign object that shouldn't be there at all. An anonymous staff sergeant with the Michigan National Guard said that the force had repeatedly complained after more than a dozen troops were sickened by the undercooked meat. There were 74 different meals found with raw beef in them. Now, undercooked meals that are, quote-unquote, not that good from the start were then made even more dangerous by a delay for up to 4 hours before they were served. Then another soldier complained that multiple soldiers would be getting sick and vomiting after eating. The Michigan National Guard, which had nearly 1,000 troops at the Capitol, they called it very concerning, unacceptable, on and on they went. But the question is this, in addition to the raw meat, what was the foreign objects that many soldiers also found included in their meal? Was it metal, hair, screws, or blood?
Metal, hair, screws, blood.
Or blood, yes.
Since it's the military, I'm going to go with metal.
Metal. Heavy metal.
I'm going to go screws. Just seems like it'd be a weird thing to find in your food.
Yeah, but I feel like a screw would really stick out. I'm with this guy. Metal comes in a lot of different forms. Some big, some small.
Thank you, Ted.
Yeah, I'm going to go with metal.
You're going to go with metal, final answer.
Metal with your raw meat.
And Andy, you're going to stick with that as well?
Well, since Ted agreed with me, I'm going to have to.
Okay, we're going to find out what else was in this undercooked meat. Was it metal, hair, screws, or blood next?
That was a tease.
The debauchery rolls on. You're listening to The Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Categories by me, I'll profile this. National Guard soldiers got sick in D.C. because of undercooked meat, and they also found some items that were in the food that was making them sick as well. Question is, what else was in the food other than the fact that it was undercooked? Metal, hair, screws, or blood?
And that is the very question that we posed to you, Andy, but let us start with Miles Montgomery so that he knows he's wrong first.
Okay.
It was not screws.
I'm glad to know that.
Now, Andy, you went with metal, and then you decided to stay with metal because the Ted Smith agreed with metal.
Metal.
And Ted also pointed out that metal comes in many shapes and sizes. Sometimes big, sometimes small.
Sometimes
metal.
a shaving.
Is there anything it can't do? But regarding whether or not they found metal in their meals, you are correct.
There we go. Nice work. All right, now for all TV news all the time, it's time for TV Time with Chad.
And now, because your pathetic life is confined to countless hours in front of a talking box, Armageddon. The Men's Room presents TV Time with Ted.
All right, your choices today, the Jimmys.
Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon.
Seth Meyers.
All right.
Conan.
Conan O'Brien.
The Ted Smith.
Is it Ted or is it late night?
It is right there to title all these guys of teams. Professional writers come up with their monologues each and every night. It is up to you to determine, is this an actual late night joke and from whom, or could it be a The Ted Smith original?
The CDC and the FDA have recommended a pause on the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. That's right, they're recommending a pause. And anyone who's ever been dumped was like, oh boy, that we know what pause means.
Fallon. Jimmy Kimmel.
Fallon.
The CDC and the FDA have issued a joint statement recommending a pause in the use of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
That's right. They're recommending a pause. Then anyone who's ever been dumped was like, oh boy, we know what pause means.
California is a weird place. Just the other day, former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger invited boxing legend Mike Tyson over to his Los Angeles mansion for a friendly chess match. But Mike lost on a technicality when he couldn't move his bithup.
Beats Ted Smith.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, that was me.
Jeez, I love my bithup. The what? That's not a piece. The bithup. When it can move. It moves out of flank.
Jeff Bezos has many unusual side projects, including his space company, Blue Origin. It had just landed a multi-million-dollar contract with the Pentagon to build a nuclear-powered spaceship. That's something you might want to look into, 007. I guess he wants to make sure that when we all flee to Mars, we still have 2-day shipping.
Seth Meyers. Jimmy Kimmel.
That is Kimmel.
Jeff Bezos, he has many unusual side projects, including this. His aerospace company, Blue Origin, just landed a multi-million-dollar contract with the Pentagon to build a nuclear-powered spaceship. That might be something you want to look into, 007. I guess he wants to make sure that when we all flee to Mars, we'll still be able to get 2-day shipping.
According to a new study, women who are stressed during pregnancy are nearly twice as likely to have a girl. That story, again, 2021 is going to be all girls.
Seth Meyers.
According to a new study, women who are stressed during pregnancy are nearly twice as likely to have a girl. That story, again, 2021 is going to be all girls.
Pinterest just added new guidelines to encourage its users to be more positive and kind. They made the decision after someone kept harassing people through quilts.
Jimmy Fallon?
Fallon.
Yeah, it's Fallon.
Check this out. I saw that Pinterest just added new guidelines to encourage its users to be more positive and kind. Pinterest. They made the decision after someone kept harassing people through quilts.
You know, sometimes I would make fun of Pinterest like years ago when it first started.
Sure.
But to Pinterest credit, like I think I've said this before. Like anytime I have snacks or food, I'm like, "Where'd you find this?" And somebody would be like, "Pinterest." I'm like, God dang it.
It has grown into something that I think we could appreciate. I still don't go there. But when it first started, it seemed like if you wanted to learn how to quilt mittens, like that seemed to be what the site was. And now, like you said, man, there's probably more recipes that I've eaten. Like, I found it on Pinterest.
Yeah, like to the point now, sometimes like you show up to like a football Sunday or something and you just eat something like, I've never had this. Is this from Pinterest?
It's Pinterest. Damn it, it's Pinterest.
I know. Damn it. A lot of stuff on there.
Apparently, Pinterest is also good if you have to do school projects. Like if the kids have to, in the class does some kind of ridiculous school project at the end of the year. I know my wife's all over Pinterest just to come up with ideas, right? And it's all just this crafty stuff. Not that I want to be involved in, but...
Are they still making the solar system? With the foam, with the hard foam?
Paper mache.
They did that
we used those,
2 years ago, I think.
The foam balls, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, they did that a couple of years ago.
Yeah, you got to do that. You got to make a volcano.
I hope they get to do a volcano, man. I never got to make the volcano.
I did.
You did?
Yep, twice.
Man, I've seen it like on movies,
no, sorry.
TV
one
shows.
volcano, one glacier.
Really?
Yeah.
One solar system, one volcano.
I can't tell
we
you.
We were like making shivs.
I can't tell you what a disaster the glacier was.
What did you make the glacier out of?
It was paper mache, but I had kind of like a saran wrap underneath that thing so it wouldn't leak so much. So then I had to take it and then basically make a giant... I had to fill it with water and then lay it in the freezer, which was problematic because there was food in there, and it was a pretty good size. Right. But I had to lay it flat. So even though when you set it down, it wasn't flat. It was obviously like a mountain size.
Yeah.
But I lay it flat so that the ice would melt within the gap that I created.
Sure.
Right? And then... by the time that it got from home, when my mom brought it into the school, all the ice had melted and already fell off, and then she couldn't put it back because it was melting too fast.
I mean, that makes sense.
It does. Yes, that's what happened. Because underneath it, I had little rocks.
How'd your volcano do?
And the idea, so you pour the water on top of the little rocks, and the idea was you could see how the rocks would erode and come down with the glacier.
Okay, all right, makes sense.
The volcano's pretty easy.
I didn't do well.
I know, I just never got to make one.
What, a baking soda and something else?
Vinegar.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Miles, you ever been...
you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look, all your friends are going to use baking soda and vinegar. Well, we're going to blow their goddamn minds with this. We're going to fill this with Mentos, and you dump Coca-Cola in there.
Ooh. Good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Miles, you ever seen Mr. Rogers' Real House?
I just checked it out the other day.
But, I mean, you used to go to Pittsburgh a decent amount, and you've never seen it in person.
No, I don't think it was something that was like a monument or something that people... I mean, I'm sure his neighbors knew where he lived, but I mean...
Well, so Fred Rogers lived in this house from the late 50s to the early 60s. It's on the market. The asking price is $850,000.
This is in Pittsburgh?
That's a lot of money for a house in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, in Pittsburgh. That's...
Yeah.
Is it that much just because he lived there?
It's in one of those old neighborhoods that have been established for a while. So all the houses are really, big oak trees and all that crap.
But I mean,
they're saying the story is it's where he had sex because it's where they had their 2 kids.
I've always wanted to have the Mr. Rogers I had sex here.
The honeymoon suite.
I bet you Mr. Rogers, man, had like nipple rings, a C ring, like, because he just played this little guy. I bet you in the bedroom he's like, I got a big ass eagle tattoo on my back. I'm going to crush it tonight.
In this neighborhood, there is no safe word.
But I'm done with this show.
Mr. Rogers, easy.
Yeah.
Jeez. Like, that's how Mrs. Rogers likes it. All right.
I'm telling you, he's probably
Well, I just think it's odd, too. Like, anybody that's like, I'm trying to think of a famous person.
Where you'd pay extra to live there just because
I'm thinking of a famous person that's above a certain age that people think has never had sex.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
I see.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
I'm Glennon Doyle, author of Untamed and host of the podcast We Can Do Hard Things. Each week, we talk openly and honestly about the hard things in life together with you. So join us and some of our dearest friends and greatest heroes to talk about anxiety, boundaries, parenting, infidelity, our bodies, loving and losing, all of the things that make us human. Listen to and follow We Can Do Hard Things on Odyssey and everywhere you get your podcasts.
Like, especially over like 30s, 40s, like, I don't like, this doesn't seem shocking. Oh man, can you believe Mr. Rogers, like had sex? Like, well, yeah. It doesn't mean he was not a good child entertainer for people.
Well, he was a father and a grandfather. And
ran a PBS show, but it's like, yeah, he had sex.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell, I grew up in the Catholic Church. Like, I could look at a priest and be like, he says he's not having sex, but at some point in his life, he probably had sex.
Yeah. I think the way that he talked to kids, people questioned his sexuality just based on his like, hi, hello.
I'm sure when they killed the cameras, like, I'm doing the show,
he's not
stupid.
a manly man, you know what I mean? Like, I don't believe that crap.
Yeah, but I mean, also, what age would you say his show was targeted at?
I watched it my whole growing up, probably till 6,
maybe. Yeah.
Right.
I watched it every day.
I mean, like, after about 6 or 7, I feel like you talk to a kid different. But, like, those ages, like, it's hard to look manly talking to a toddler.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Unless you're yelling at him because it's your kid and it's okay.
His whole shtick was just hanging up.
If you yell at random toddlers, people get upset.
They really do.
Put on his comfy shoes when he got home.
Yeah.
He'll put on his sweater and feed the fish.
I told you, I'm Mr. Rogers when I get home.
You go to comfortable
off your
shoes,
shoes,
put on a sweater and feed the fish.
I gotta switch out the shoes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't put on a sweater, though.
I'll put on flip-flops.
Oh, see?
Yeah, same thing.
That's the chill,
sometimes
Mr.
I go
Rogers.
mesh shorts.
Oh, always.
Maybe a hoodie. Who knows?
That's all I do.
Yeah.
Mr. Rogers in the hoodie.
I know. Well, most
Different
people.
show today, kids. Mr. Rogers hit the bottle a little hard last night.
I also like that, like, most people wear suits and stuff to work. I'm like, I gotta get out of these jeans and put on something comfortable.
Right.
It's true, though.
Well, it's just weird, right? It's just like, all right, my day's over. But on the weekend, it's like, I don't have to wear the jeans all day.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, $850,000. Yeah, it's in Pittsburgh. So if you want to live where Mr. Rogers used to knock boots, you can.
Where Mr. Rogers rogered.
Yeah, right?
Mr. Rogers is just a nickname.
Steve Urkel is slanging some weed now. Jaleel White, that's his real name if you don't know that. He's launching It's Purple. It's a cannabis line he developed in a collaboration with 710 Labs. I'm guessing that's an area code in California.
Probably.
Because I don't.
The Purple Urkel.
No,
Right.
Purple Urkel was not him. He's the It's Purple.
Oh.
Someone
That's
else
the whole
did
thing.
Purple Urkel. So now he's put out It's Purple to compete with the Purple
I
Urkel.
did not realize that this was a thing.
Right, because Purple Urkel's been around for years.
Right.
But it wasn't. I like the way they.
with them.
What's that? Well, right, and it wasn't legal. I like the way they phrase it now. The bootleg version, like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I guess that's true, right? Because we think about like certain whiskeys and stuff as being bootleg versions. So, yeah, I mean, it's the same thing.
Jaleel White, he also gave his name to a strain of cocaine. Try some of that Jaleel White. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the ATF was like, use our 3 letters for Alaskan something.
A lot of Hollywood diving in on the weed game.
Sure, man. It's easy money.
Yeah.
What did they do before? They invested in tequila companies, right?
Yeah.
Booze.
That's now true. Weed's legal, and it's like, hey, let's get into this as well.
Right. You go down to a store in California, and you're like, I know Tommy Chong. I know all these people. Like, it's
well,
like, you know.
What did we drive by last night? Sean Kemp's Weed Emporium or whatever the hell.
Weed is different, too, right? Like, with liquor, I could have somebody famous or say, oh, you got to try this or whatever, or it might have a clever name. But you try it once, you don't like it. Sure. You're not going to drink it again. But, like, with weed, like, there's oftentimes I buy strains on name alone.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. And then sometimes they come through and they're awesome, right? It's like, man, this stuff does have it going on. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's getting in on that. They interviewed him in Forbes. He's basically, he said, quote, there's no brand leadership for fire purple weed. Made no sense to me. It's one of the significance claim this lane, so why not me? He developed its purple during the pandemic, says he loves how it turned out. Quote, the smoke to the end result from such a quality pod has been surreal. Feel a little bit like Willy Wonka. The flavor came out so similar to grape candy.
By the way, Ted, just so you know, 710. All right, so everyone's checking in and letting us know. 710, one guy says 710 is to oil what 420 is to weed. So 710 is just oil backwards.
Oh.
So everyone's saying, look, 710 is oil backwards and upside down.
I see.
That is slick.
That is. I like it.
Is.
Yeah, because I was like, man, is that a weed reference? I do not know what it is.
Apparently, everyone in this city knows that except us. They're just blowing up like, dude, 710, it's oil.
Yeah. That doesn't shock me that people know that in this city.
It does not shock me at all.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike, real quick for you, since you have the T-shirt.
Greta Van Fleet tonight on Jimmy Kimmel.
Nice.
I just saw that on Twitter feed.
Thank you, Ted. We appreciate it. You are listening to The Men's Room.
Men's Room returns with Miles and Thrill. Now, let's see what's happening in the real world.
All right, here we go. Farts are protected forms of expression. Argues man fined for farting on the cop. This whole thing about parents jumping into zoo animal enclosures. Yeah, it's happened twice in 2 weeks. It has got to stop. Couple in Spain decide to have sex on a park bench in front of a school. Woman busted at JFK airport with cocaine hidden where you'd find her stool. And Charleston attorney gets his ass kicked because he's an ass. It's time for your headline.
Now, it's time to hit the headlines. Here's my cock.
Top story, we got Australia, where a man was arrested for a rough encounter with an officer. The man was in a local park with his friends when they were approached by an officer who wanted an identity check. For whatever reason, the man felt the need to express himself on the officer by flatulating on him, prompting laughter and ridicule from his friends. The officer didn't find it quite as funny, as he issued a fine to the man to the tune of about $600 American. The man has taken the matter to court, claiming that his fart is protected under his freedom of expression.
I'm curious to see how that plays out.
Or freedom of expulsion.
Yes.
There it is. I mean, could it technically be a form of assault?
I think that's what they're going to hit him with.
Right.
You know? Because it's not battery, but it would be assault. You know, if I say F you, that could be assault.
Sure.
If I punch you, it's battery, right? I mean, I don't know, but I feel like obviously the cop did not find it fun. He's going to play it that way.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Like it's assault. He farted on me.
You're being a jackass and you farted on a cop. You made a bad choice.
That's a terrible choice.
Miles just wanted to touch a cop's mustache, and the cop said, if you touch it, it'll be assault, right? You touch my mustache.
There's the difference, though, Miles.
It's more like I'm going to kill you.
That's the difference, though, is you asked. Instead of reaching up there and touching the cop's mustache.
It's glorious.
Let's ask him. That is a really nice mustache. I got to see this mustache. I honestly do. Yeah. To entice Miles to want to touch a cop's mustache.
Good luck finding a cop downtown these days.
Yeah, amen to that. In other news, we go to JFK Airport, where customs agents found cocaine on a woman. A lot of cocaine. They originally found a couple pellets with a white substance while searching her purse, and after taking her to a search room, they found that she had even more of the substance stuffed into her brassiere. Later, she admitted that she did indeed have even more cocaine hidden on her person, inside both of her lower orifices.
She put it everywhere she could.
She really did.
Man, oh
Any
man.
place that she could put it, she did.
Well done. She faces charges.
She's like a drug pinata.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Lord.
Old Agnes, the drug pinata.
I'm going to beat her with a wiffle bat and get all the drugs out of there.
Oh, man. Got it. Over in Scotland, a couple got busted having a little bit too much fun outside of a school. They were first seen as a top as a topless man was doing juggling tricks for a nude woman sitting on a bench. Why she was nude, it doesn't quite explain. She's just naked. Let's see here. Afterwards, the two locked into conversation before she jumped on top of him, and they got locked into something else entirely. Police eventually arrived on the scene and separated the two, but not before photos were snapped by the school children in a class just across the street.
What a coincidence. Just two naked random people who don't know each other run into each other in public and decide to have sex.
I've been to Scotland. I'm glad to say that I didn't see a whole lot of naked people just kind of strolling about.
No, this is Spain, though, so it'd be better.
Oh, this is Spain? My bad.
Yeah. You want to see naked people in Spain.
That's true.
When I was in Ireland, I was glad that people wore clothes.
They're pasty.
In Spain, I was not. I'll just leave it at that.
Leave it there. A Brazilian plastic surgeon is facing serious consequences for her social media. Following the latest of media trends, the surgeon is on TikTok and has made some videos for her followers, but the video that's causing controversy shows her doing one of the dances that are currently trending on the app before she adds in the accompaniment of a massive bag with human fat that she's taken out of someone. Though she's kind enough to make it educational by naming where exactly she removed the bags of fat from, it violates TikTok's policy and the surgical office as well, and she has since had her license revoked.
Wow.
That is it for your headlines. With that, Mike Hawk is out.
Thanks, sir. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time for the head chef, Ted's Meat and Potatoes, and once again, the game known as Big Demi.
We used to call dancing with a bag of fat my friend's prom date.
Oh, no!
Well, it's all true, but in the meantime, we be up out this bitch. So until next time, please do what you do best. And for Lisa's sake, stay beautiful.
The Men's Room has been taped before a live studio audience. Wardrobe and makeup provided by Mantastic Limited. This has been a presentation of the Men's Room Radio Network. Oh, man! A Double Flush production.